Hello, I'm Emma of Granola Gear, and I'm so excited to be chatting with you again today about what I have been working on in my knitting life. I've made some progress. I feel like for some reason in cold weather season, my knits progress a lot faster than they do in the warm weather season. I don't know if that's in my head. I have no idea. But even though they're larger projects than like a summer tank top, they seem to I just crank them out. I don't know. Maybe I'm just inside more and not as busy, so I get more stuff done. That could be it. That's probably it. But I'm excited to get to all of it with you today because I have one that I'm so excited and happy to have that's finished today. First, I'll mention what I'm wearing. This is a Monday sweater by Petite Knit in an assortment of many thrifted yarns. Uh, it's not even worth explaining them to you because there's like 20, not 20, but a lot. I love this sweater. This is actually probably one of my favorite knits. It's very cozy and easy because it's just a simple raglan, but this color combo is fun and different, but it's enough neutral that you can wear it with whatever, and I don't feel like outrageous. It's like the perfect balance of special and basic for day-to-day wear, just heavy enough, just light enough for everything. It's the perfect sweater in my personal opinion, for me at least, in my life. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm wearing. I love it. One of my favorites. If I don't know what to wear, I will throw this sweater on. Easy peasy, outfit done. But I will start with my finished objects. And the first one is a very special one that I've been working on for a little while now, and that is my Esther jacket. Yay! I'm so happy to have it done. This pattern is, if you don't know, by Petite Knit. It is a textured cardigan, part of the Esther Archives collection last year, which was like reworked vintage patterns into more modern things. I really fell in love with this. I love cardigans that button all the way up that aren't v-neck cardigans. It's my favorite style, like the jacket style cardigan. And I used the original yarn that she used in the pattern, the sample, which is I've never done before, but my in-laws were in Norway and very kindly sent me this yarn that they picked up. So it's Isir Jensen with 2 strands of the Isir Highland wool. I did the zero, which is color zero, which is just the white cream natural color. Like I've said before, I usually knit in colors. I don't usually pick a white. I'm not like a neutrals girl. But I was looking at the options between the two, and the one that really matched the best was the white. The other options were like a brown that was more heathered, and I wanted to be able to like really see the texture, which you can. And now that it's blocked, you can see the texture so much better, and it's so beautiful. I have one other white cardigan, my champagne cardigan, and I wear that one all the time to the point that I really need to wash it because it's looking pretty dirty. So I know this will get a lot of wear in my closet. A great piece to just throw on over stuff, and it's not too distracting, but it's so beautiful, and I love it so much. It's such a nice vintage style cardigan. The Jensen definitely gives it some great structure. Uh, yeah, it's so beautiful. The one thing is it picked up so much like dust as I was knitting it on the couch. I need to like lint roll it or pick it all off before it goes on my shelf so it doesn't sit there with crap on it that I can't see and then have to pick off before the next time I wear it. I did make it a little bit longer than in the pattern, not a significant amount, but I believe in the pattern it stopped in the middle of one of these textured diamonds, and I did down to the middle of the like stockinette outline, just because I wasn't sure if it was quite long enough. What I actually did, I don't remember at what point exactly that I was at in the last video. I knit all the way down the body and down to the ribbing, but before binding off, I blocked it actually because I wanted to make sure it was a good length, but I wanted to do that before I had bound off so I didn't have to unpick it all to redo it. So I did that, felt good about the length, bound off, and then did the button bands. So this is an Aran weight pattern. It calls for 5mm needles. I went up to 5.5 because I started the back trapezoid and it was looking pretty small and my gauge was a little small. So I went up, and I think that was a good thing. I think that was the right choice. But it kind of can be hard even when you block a swatch. Sometimes if you're making a big piece that's going to be heavy, it can still pull out quite a bit more once it's finished compared to like just a little gauge swatch that doesn't have as much weight on it. So I did feel like this grew a little bit, which was good. It meant it was like the right size for me at the end of the day. So that's fine. It definitely hopefully will shift around a little bit with wear. It feels very flat right now. It's hard with a textured cardigan like this. The flatness isn't necessarily like the shape that you want it to be in, especially like this harsh line down the middle, but that's just how you got to block. It is what it is. Um, yeah, what else? Happy with the slightly longer length. That was good. I have plenty of yarn left over that I'll probably use for another project, or I will use for another project at some point. I have these beautiful little coconut buttons that have flowers on them. Hopefully I'm actually showing you one and not just showing you in between one right there. They're very pretty. I like them. Um, the other side of the button is like a darker, just straight brown. But I liked the slightly less contrast. I thought worked better for this cardigan. So you're more focused on the texture than you are on the dark buttons. But yeah, I love this piece. It'll definitely get a lot of wear. It was a very good choice for my closet. Something that fits and will stick around for a long time. Something like this is such a classic design. It'll never really go out of style. And like that's kind of my argument in what's the word, in favor of designers like that. That they may be super prolific and have lots of basic designs, but simplicity is kind of what we need in clothing and fashion, in my personal opinion, because there's just too much stuff that's not classic and crazy and gets worn for 2 weeks and then you throw it away or bring it to the thrift store, and that's not worth it. I'd rather make something that I'm going to have for forever because it's always going to look good. And that's what that is for me. So yes, love that piece. That's my only finished object. So let's get into whips, which there are a lot of almost finished whips. So we'll see what next week looks like, but the next podcast looks like, but it might be pretty full of finished objects. The first one is my Amy sweater, which is my Christmas cast on. Make sure it's all nice. This is the front. So this is knit in the Noro Silk Garden Sock Solo. It's hard to make this collar stand up. In the color 84. I'll put it on the screen, but it's color Osaka. It's this really pretty tweedy purple. I finished both sleeves. It was blocked once when I was mostly done with the first sleeve. So only like this sleeve and the yoke and the collar are blocked. That's why the collar looks so nice. This other sleeve, or the cuffs, definitely aren't blocked. And I am through the body and I'm working on the ribbing. It's kind of hard to measure this sometimes because I don't know, it's hard to figure out at what point. And I only using, I can't remember, 4 of these skeins. They're 300-gram skeins. And I get yarn chicken nervous when you have fewer large skeins. Because I'm like, is this really going to be enough? Is this really going to be enough? I don't have another skein to go to. Like, I'll have to buy a whole nother skein for the last little bit. So I'm going to knit out the ribbing and we'll see where I'm at. There's a chance I go back and extend the body a little bit, or I extend the ribbing beyond a little bit what it would be. The ribbing is going to be this long, like this sleeve, which for me was 40 rows, and I'm not quite even at 20 yet, so it'll be a bit longer. Maybe I might do the same thing as I did with the Esther, which is get through all the ribbing rows, put it on cords, block it, see where I'm at, and then bind off or finish. It's kind of a good way to do it for me personally. Sure, I got to block it twice, but then I don't have to like frog a bind off, which isn't, it's a just a regular bind off for this rolled edging, but makes life easier. I might do that. I feel like it's not going to grow a ton, but it'll definitely even out a bit and pull down in the body. And I'm not sure how long I really want it to be. I usually like a normal length sweater. I don't usually go for cropped sweaters, just not my preference for the most part. I want something more like full length crew neck sweatshirt style, like this sweater. So this is knit on 4mm needles. It says it's a worsted weight pattern, but the sample is knit in pure Gint, which is a DK, and I got gauged with this sport. But the Silk Garden Sock Solo is kind of slubby, I guess you would say. It's like thick and thin. Like there's some really thin parts and some thicker parts. Not like a huge range or very constant, but it's definitely got sections that are more worsted weight and sections that are more fingering weight. So it all kind of balances itself out. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll have enough yarn. I'm just nervous. And it's about whether or not, if I'm definitely gonna have enough yarn and there's gonna be some left over, if I want to go back and make it a little bit longer, because I think it might need a little bit of length. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell with these boxy sweaters sometimes. I was kind of holding it up against this just to be sure that I was like in an okay range, but you know, we'll see. We'll see where we end up. That's where I'm at with that one so far. I'm really happy with it. It's going to be a beautiful sweater no matter what. When I was still in the body and I was getting nervous about amount of yarn, like, you know what? If I run out, I'm gonna just buy another ball. I think I'm at the point where no matter if I do run out, I think it will be an appropriate length, so I won't buy another ball. But that was how much I liked it. I was like, I'd be willing to just use a teeny tiny bit for a new ball to make it the right length. But it's going to be a beautiful sweater. I'm super excited about it. And also, I've knit 2 mock necks. I've knit Eurus Slipover, which is a mock neck, and then this Lulu Slipover, which is a mock neck. But I've never knit a full turtleneck sweater. I think before I was more worried about itchiness and having it up close to my neck. And I don't like all turtleneck patterns, kind of like 50-50. I don't like when they're really tight to the neck necessarily. So yeah, so this is my first real turtleneck sweater that I've knit. That's exciting. Next piece, this was continuation, but now it actually looks like something. Before it just looked like the beginning. This is the Sophie Hood by Petite Knit. Yes, I know, all Petite Knit patterns. I've got one that isn't, don't worry. This is just the hood pattern. I'm making the size small. I'm using Noro Hanui. I have literally no idea how to say that. I've just been saying it those 2 A's in every podcast. This is left over from my Eurus Slipover. I think I'm gonna have enough. I've got this left to do this, so it should be fine. But if I don't, I have like another tan yarn. I'll just use the last little bit of. I've made it through the hood shaping, and I'm back onto the decreases for this bit. For me, so this is like an Aran worsted weight yarn. You're supposed to go up to a certain number of stitches or a certain width. And I was definitely at the width, maybe a little bit over when I was a couple stitches under. And it said that's fine, but I feel like it's not super long in this tail part. But that also may just be because it's a size small and not the bigger size. So maybe I should have knit the bigger size, but I was trying to be conservative because I felt like it was not going to be enough yarn no matter what. But I haven't sewn up the back yet. This is the hood part. But I'm really excited about this. Oh, sorry if I bumped the mic. I guess I was looking at her videos. She has one where it's just tied behind. I don't know if I look totally ridiculous and insane yet. I had it like as I was working on the second flap and starting it, I actually had these pinned together with a safety pin because it was really hard with that like continuing the I cord in the back to keep it like from getting all twisted. I do think this is going to grow a decent amount when I block because it is garter and it is this wool that's kind of slubby. I don't know. I'm excited about it. It's not my favorite project in the world to knit on. Not that it's like not fun. It's just not super exciting. Like it's just basic. You know, it's basic. I have this little stitch counting row marker thing that's been really helpful for this part because I can just slip it every row and I don't have to make a tally mark because I have a really hard time seeing increases in garter. It's harder for me to count. But yeah, I think I'll probably knit another one of these. I have like some drops Nepal that's left over from a sweater that should be enough for another one of these. I think it's a good like scrap busting project for me, but I'll probably finish this one, block it out, see how I wear it and see how I feel about it. If I maybe need to knit a bigger one with the longer tail for it to fit better, or for it to be more wearable for me. I do still want to knit the Alex hood by Knitting for Olive. And I was also thinking, like I was wearing another Monday sweater in another video. It's all like mini skeins that I have. I do have a bunch of other mini skeins left. I was thinking maybe I make like a scrappy or stripy Oslo hat. I've never knit an Oslo hat. I think that's a fingering weight. Or maybe I make a muscle burrow. But the muscle burrow is kind of like so long with the tube. I don't know if I really want to get into that. I don't really need a double thick hat. I could, but I don't know. I'm just thinking about hats because I only have like 1 or 2 knit hats that I have and wear. I haven't knit many hats. In the past, I was like, I don't want to knit hats. I want to knit big stuff. But this is exciting. I was at a knitting knit night the other night with some other ladies in the area, and someone else was also knitting one of these. So it's popular. And that is all my whips for me. And now this is a gift knit. I just cast this on with the Hobie Friends that I showed in the last video as an acquisition in the color Dark Denim, which is the 81 color. This is the beginning of the Journeyman jumper for Knitwits and Yarns, and it is a knit flat in panels sweater, but I'm not doing that because I'm not going to knit bottom up stockinette in panels. Sorry. Not going to happen. So I just cast on the right number of stitches for all the way around, and I'm knitting it up. And then it's a drop shoulder. So once I get to where the armpits are, which is I think just where the stockinette ends, I'll just split for front and back and knit up those. Should be easy peasy. Don't foresee any big issues. Yeah, this is a worsted weight pattern on 4.5 millimeter needles, I think. Yeah, so US 7s. This is obviously working up pretty quickly because it's just stockinette. I'm just cranking on it whenever I have time. I did, it doesn't call for any specific cast on. It doesn't call for any specific cast on because I was doing it in the round and it's bottom up. I did the Italian tubular cast on, or like the Norwegian cast on, and then I did like 2 rows of double knitting like you kind of normally would in a lot of these patterns. I find that especially with a cast on, like a tubular cast on like that, it's really hard to get it tight. So those rows of double knitting help bring it in a little bit more so it's not floppy at the edge, which I think it did pretty well. I think it'll block out a little bit nicer. So yeah, sorry it just got dark. If you can tell that it just got dark. This is probably going to take me a while, but I don't think it'll be as long as the sweater for my other brother. So that's a good thing. I'm happy to have gotten it started. Get another thing out of the way. Yeah, feeling good about it. I don't have any acquisitions this week, and I haven't finished any books because I'm working on another book from the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson, and that's crazy. It's a long book, so I'm working on it. But that's all I've got for you this week. Hopefully, in my next podcast, I will have a finished Indie sweater and maybe a finished Sophie hood, and possibly 2 cast-ons then. Because if you haven't noticed, I try to keep it around 3. I technically have 4, but one of them I'm not super actively working on. So I've got like 3. I try to do at least 1 small one and then 1 or 2 big projects. And the recipe lately has been like a big project for myself, a small project for myself, and then a gift knit. And that's like, if I get more than that, I get stressed. That's the perfect recipe for me. But I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, leave me a comment telling me how many whips you like to work on at the time. I know there are monogamous knitters out there, but I got to do a little rotation or I could start to go crazy, especially if I get stuck. I hope you like this. If you did, I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe. It means so much to me that you guys watch these videos. I have a lot of fun making them. I have a lot of fun just blabbing about knitting. That's pretty much why I do it. So it's wonderful to me, and I appreciate it so much that someone wants to come watch me blab about knitting. I am a prolific knitter, but I would be a prolific knitter whether or not I was filming it. So it's nice to have other people appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day and happy knitting.